Feeling alone and feeling lonely are two very different things. You can feel lonely even with friends and family around you, and you can feel at peace when you're by yourself. This is because true connection comes from within, not from the presence of others. I used to think being alone was the same as feeling lonely. I found being by myself unbearable and would fill every empty space with noise, friends, distractions, anything to avoid facing the silence. I thought happiness came from being surrounded by others. I believed that having people around me was the only way to feel complete. But over time, I started to realize something. No amount of company or external noise could quiet the restlessness inside me. Even in a crowd, I sometimes felt more alone than when I was by myself. Slowly, I began to understand that being alone didn't mean being lonely. It gave me space to hear my own thoughts, to grow, and to discover who I truly was, without the constant influence of others. When you sit alone, without distractions, the world slows down. At first, it feels uncomfortable, like you're missing something, or waiting for someone to fill the silence. Your mind races, searching for noise, for company, for anything to break the stillness. But if you stay a little longer, something changes. The quiet starts to settle, and you realize it's not so empty after all. It's in that solitude where you start hearing the thoughts you've been pushing away, the feelings you've been avoiding. You notice things about yourself you couldn't see before, and slowly, sitting alone becomes less about what's missing and more about what you're finding. In those moments, you discover that the person you've been waiting for, someone to keep you company, to make you feel whole, has been with you all along. With time, you realize that the only person you truly need to talk with is yourself. All those conversations you longed to have with others, seeking validation or understanding, slowly shift inward. You begin to understand that the answers you were chasing were within you all along, waiting for you to listen. In the quiet moments, you learn to trust your own voice. You ask yourself the questions that matter, and in the stillness, you start to find clarity. You come to understand your fears, your desires, and your purpose, not through the noise of the outside world, but through the depth of your own reflection. And that's when the loneliness fades, because once you can hold a conversation with yourself, you realize that your own company is enough. I have gotten so used to being alone that it no longer feels like isolation. It feels like home. The quiet no longer unsettles me. Instead, it comforts me. I have grown to love the spaces where I can just be, without expectation, without performing for anyone. In solitude, I found freedom, a kind of peace that I never knew existed. I have learned to enjoy my own thoughts, to savor the slow moments, and to appreciate the simplicity of being present with myself. It's in these moments that I'm most connected to myself, to my dreams, to what truly matters. Being alone doesn't mean being lonely anymore. I don't think I've ever been with anyone the way I am with myself. There is a depth in solitude that I haven't found in the company of others. When I'm with myself, there is no need to explain or prove anything. I can just exist, fully and authentically. No one else has seen all of my quiet moments, my struggles, or the thoughts that swirl in my head. No one else has been there for every tear or every moment of doubt. But I have. And in a way, that makes the relationship I have with myself the most honest, the most constant. I'm not saying I have all the answers, or that I'm always whole. But I'm someone I can rely on. I have come to understand that I don't have to get everything right. But I trust myself to keep going and to figure things out. I have learned to be my own support system, to stand by myself when no one else can, or when no one else truly understands. I have built this quiet strength over time through solitude, through reflection, and through the moments when I felt I had no one but myself to lean on. And that's enough. I don't need to be perfect or have everything figured out. I just need to be there for myself, to have my own back, and that's all I needed. I still feel lonely sometimes, and I still crave someone's presence now and then. But I'm not desperate enough to choose that longing over my peace. It's natural to want companionship and connection. However, I have learned that not every moment of solitude needs to be filled with someone else's energy. I value the clarity and comfort that comes from being at peace with myself. Choosing solitude doesn't mean I don't want connection. It means I'm prioritizing my mental and emotional well-being. I've come to understand that the right people will come into my life when the time is right. And until then, I will continue to nurture my own spirit. I'm learning that being alone doesn't have to mean feeling lonely. It can also mean being whole and content within myself. Now, I seek to be with myself more than with anyone else. I have found that spending time alone helps me recharge and think clearly. In those moments, I explore my interests and I enjoy my own company without distractions. While I still appreciate the company of others, I have learned that being alone gives me the space I need to feel grounded and content. It's become a time for me to just be, and that's what I value most now.